Well, yeah. So for everyone watching, I just wanted to chat a little bit with Billy, because if you don't know, Billy is the person I wrote "I Won't Need to Dream" with. So we had a few sessions prior to writing that song, and I think for both of us, it was a really special song from the very first moment that we kind of came up with the idea. So I've already talked to quite a few like blogs about how the song
Sure,
is written. So why don't you tell people how you remember it going? Because I'm keen to hear what your thoughts are.
sure. My side of the story.
Yes,
Man,
exactly.
it was I want to say it was summer or late spring, about a year ago, around this time. Well, I guess so the seasons are different over our the spring in the States, which is like kind of closer to
Autumn.
y'all's winter, autumn, okay.
Mm.
And it was, I think, the third or fourth song we had written together. And we had just finished a song, and we had some extra time left in our session, and we just kind of sprung this idea out. And it
Yeah.
happened really fast. Like, we both, were talking about where were we at, where we were at that day. Not feeling super great, feeling a little bit pessimistic and doubtful. And we wanted to write a song, you know, to ourselves essentially. And as it just flowed right out. I remember it taking probably about an hour.
Yeah.
We were really inspired. There was a song you turned me on to from the Pied Pipers, was it?
Yes. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, yeah. Dream.
Dream, which was this just amazing vocal arrangement, jazz style song. And that was sort of the launching point. We like because we'd written a lot of pop songs before that. And at that point we kind of shared our love interest of jazz ballads and stuff. We started talking about Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and I kind of told you how I had a love for musical theater and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And
Same.
it just we just cranked it out in 1 hour, and then it kind of sat for a second, and maybe a month went by, a little less, and you said I have this opportunity to be on Eurovision, which I had never heard of at the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Not really a thing in America, is it? Like, it's not many people know about it.
no, even as I would share with my friends and peers and such, like they had heard of it, but they didn't really know what it was. I always had to explain it, which was kind of fun and discouraging, but
I know.
mainly
Well, that kind of sucks. I mean, yeah, because at least in Australia, like when I told people like, "Oh, I'm going to be a part of like I'm in the running to be in Eurovision," they were
right.
like, "Whoa, that's such a big deal." Whereas like it kind of sucks because like you know half the world is aware of Eurovision, but unfortunately that doesn't really include the states.
Yeah, we just we don't it didn't make it over here.
No.
But funny enough, there is something they're doing coming up called the American Song Contest, which is brand new, that kind of seems to be like in, I think, in association with Eurovision, because I've seen some of the Eurovision blogs post about this contest that's coming up. But it's I very quickly realized though how big of a deal it was, just based off the internet and how people were coming in contact with me as a result of the show, and it was just the magnitude of it sunk in very quickly. So it was
Yeah.
no America will catch on at some point. I think they're airing it for the first time this year on
Really?
NBC in the States. So it's
Yay.
they're bringing it over. They're bringing it overseas.
Nice. Well, I chatted with an American blog about this, and apparently their whole thing is to kind of like talk about Eurovision from the American context and like for the countries that don't have Eurovision, I guess, or aren't in it. So
Right.
yeah, but okay, so we wrote the dreamy song on the first day in like an hour
Yeah.
after already writing another song,
Right.
and then I brought up Eurovision, and we were like, what are we gonna do? Because I think the song was only like a minute and a half. And by the way, everyone, if you want to ask us questions or anything, feel free to just like comment them, and we'll try and get an answer about the song. But yeah, we kind of had this minute and a half song and didn't really know what to do with it. We thought it would be good for this competition, but we thought it
Right.
needed something else, right?
Precisely. Yeah. It was sort of written, you know, it was only a minute and a half. We didn't have the chorus section yet. I think the original vision was like it would be kind of like an interlude or an intro on your album. And then when the Eurovision opportunity came up, that's when you educated me on the contest. We watched some of the highlights of last
Yeah.
year and decided to write something epic that the show calls
Yes.
for. And
Yeah.
that was a little bit more of a challenge. That took us, I think, 2 sessions to kind of crank, even though it's a short section, to really fine tune it and find what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember, yeah, that was kind of like mining for gold a little bit, having to
Yeah, and
hit it the
it was a
rock
lot
over and over.
harder to like get that next section, wasn't it? After
Yeah,
we'd sort of, because we just didn't want to ruin it. We both knew that the song was special, and we were just like, oh, we don't want
totally.
to take away from what makes it magical. But I think, thankfully, it ended up sounding just a different kind of magical. I hope.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think it made the song what it is today. And
Yeah.
it was not, I don't think either of us expected to go that route.
No,
And
no.
I think just added to its specialness because otherwise it was just, you know, if you've, for those who are in the chat who've heard the song, was very much more of a ballad and that was it. And then it kind of turned into this pop anthem,
Yeah.
um, something you could kind of dance to a little bit as well.
Yeah. So we have a couple questions. I'm not sure if you can
Great.
actually see the comments, Billy,
Yeah, I
but
can.
okay.
I
So
think.
one is
Yeah.
Lionel saying, "How did we meet?" Basically,
Great
the
question.
short story is that my publisher reached out to Billy, found him probably through your album, right, or something. I'm not sure.
Some way through the internet.
Some internet thing, and
Yep.
Billy was on a list of a bunch of other songwriters that they sent me, like, hey, does any of these kind of sound appealing to you? And I
Totally.
looked at some of Billy's stuff and I was like, yep, absolutely. And I think, I guess, a similar thing with you.
Precisely. Yeah. It's kind of storybook when I look at it in hindsight like that. It was just an email. I was on a writing trip in LA coincidentally, and I'm
Oh,
sitting at my
nice.
computer. Yeah, it was just in that mode, and an email pops up from Wise Music Group, and they want to connect me with some of their Australian writers. And first, I'm thinking that's spam. You know,
Yeah,
it's just so random to get. And then
totally. I get stuff like that, which is definitely spam.
yeah, it's like Australia. I don't. Okay, let's give it a whirl. And then fast
Yeah.
forward 1 year later, probably the coolest moment of my career. So
Yeah, same. So
Trent said something kind of cool. He thinks it's a pop anthem lullaby. I like that
I,
description.
I love that too. It's like, definitely the original version was more like a lullaby version, but then
Right.
once we tweaked it, we made it this like pop anthem thing. Um, and okay, Kyriakos, can we expect an official song release of other song collaborations from you both? Probably, yeah. So, um, I've posted a couple other snippets on my social media of songs that we've written together. So, one is called Let Myself Down, which I do plan on releasing at some stage. And I think I also shared a snippet of a song called I Built a Better Jesus, which is a really fun song that we did as well.
Mm-hmm.
Was it? I think, and there's other ones too. I think we've written maybe two other songs on top of those ones.
Yep. Turbulence comes to mind, which is a
Turbulence.
great pop song, and I'm trying to think of. I can't remember the
Guess
other ones.
nothing changes if
Yeah,
nothing changes.
that's the other one. Yeah, that's
That was it.
exactly it.
So yes, we've sort of become pretty regular collaborators at this stage, and I credit it to Billy's ability to be the therapist in the session, if needed.
Happy to do it. I'm just sort of mirroring all my experience. No professional experience here, but just as the receiver of therapy,
Yeah.
I've just kind of mimicked all the people that have helped me out along the way.
Yeah, it's good though, because songwriting. I don't know. I think we've probably both done sessions where like we've we haven't felt comfortable being
Yeah,
raw and honest, because sometimes the vibe doesn't make you feel like you can, explain what you're going through, or you have to do it in a really veiled way. Um,
totally.
so
Or you just
yeah,
don't connect with the person. I think it's almost impossible to to not be vulnerable. You sort of have to be
yeah.
vulnerable in a
To write good
songwriting
music.
session. Yeah, it's an emotional thing. At least it is for both of us. And I would say almost I don't think I've ever had a session where the other person wasn't using emotion in some respect. But
Yeah,
sometimes it just doesn't, you're not really speaking the same language. And I think for us from the beginning, like there was we didn't have to translate for one another, which was I
no.
think has resulted in the success of the songs that we've written.
Yeah, it was always very easy, to share the real stories behind the emotions, so that when we go into a session, it's not like, oh, I'm feeling a little blue. We can actually say, well, actually, this thing just happened to me, and
Right.
it's kind of making me upset because of this, or like, but before we wrote "I Won't Need to Dream," I think we were both literally just saying like, yeah, like I wonder whether we will find any success as artists and writers, because
Right.
there's a lot of things stacked up against us. So we were able to talk about that before writing the song, which I think helps.
100%. Yeah.
So Trent's saying, can we expect Billy to be a hardcore Eurovision fan now? You'd answer that?
Big time. I got so I got the fever. I I was checking all the blogs. I follow a lot of different publications now. I think Curios is in here of Aussie Vision Net. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been following them along, and they post a lot of great updates. And yeah, I'm totally enthralled with it, which is fun.
Pretty cool.
It's like a kind of a unique hobby to have over here in America. My father has also become very interested in it. He's a big music fan, so me and him get to have some discourse about it. But hopefully soon enough, it'll become a little more mainstream here in the States.
I reckon it will, because the winners of last year's Eurovision have actually had some success in
Yes,
America.
they're on the radio all the time, actually, and that was kind of the first. That was the first eye opener, I think, for me, because we watched last year's contest when you told me we had the opportunity to be involved, and I noticed Maneskin was the winner. I said, "Oh, I've heard this song on the radio like every day."
Yeah,
Great cover of Frankie Valli.
yeah, exactly. Have we both met in person yet? No.
No, which is so crazy, but no,
Hopefully
just
soon
like
though.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's some talks of Jude coming to. Can I disclose that? Is that private
Yeah.
information?
No, go for it.
Um, Jude might be coming to Los Angeles, which is not where I live, but close enough, closer than Australia. Let me put it
Yeah.
that way. And so if and when he comes, I'll definitely be going out there, and we'll get to finally see each other face to face.
Yeah. that'll be really surreal to not see you through a screen.
Yeah, it's like I can't think of. I mean, I guess the closest thing I can relate that to is like online dating, where you meet someone through the
Yeah.
app first, and then you show up. It's like, are they gonna look the same? Are they get it?
Yes, we have a long distance relationship now, like a completely digital long distance relationship.
Oh my goodness.
Advice for someone wanting to work with other songwriters. What, let's see. I mean, the most basic advice is to just reach out, send a message. But I don't know, maybe you have something more profound, Billy.
I think some of the best advice I got early on was working in the music business is hearing a lot of no's and then getting a yes. So kind of thickening your skin to the no's, letting that be part of your routine. Because, you know, some people just unfortunately aren't going to want to write with you or don't think it's a good fit. And,
or just busy.
Or busy, you know, they don't see it. But on the flip side, there's going to be plenty of people that do. So I really believe in casting a big net. You know, for example, if I had ignored that email from your publishing company a year ago and just thought, yeah, I don't know, they're in Australia, how are we going to make that work? Like, I don't know about Zoom, yada, yada, then we wouldn't be sitting here today. I think taking as many opportunities as you can, writing with as many people as you can until you find a good, you know, because I'm much older than Jude. I'm 28. I've been doing this about 10 years. And, you know, you just never know. I can say, I would have never expected something like this to happen. And now it has. So
I don't think that's that much old. I mean, that's only 5 years. I'm almost 23.
Sure.
I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, I tend to agree. I think it's just, it all comes down to persisting, and just building relationships with people so that, like, you know, even if you're not ascending the ladder of like the most sought after writers and producers to work with, like if you're creating a good writing relationship with somebody, that's super valuable with, like, no matter who it is. Yeah, it just, like, having a good team, I think, is really fun. If nothing else, it just genuinely, like, it feels good to, like, have people who you aren't always just doing first sessions with, you know?
For sure.
Strength and familiarity.
100%. Yeah, because then by the time you're in that third session, you know, you have more rapport and things to build off of and comfortability and, you know, their workflow, how things, you know, do you need to push them there, lay off here, stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can be a little bit more brutal with, you're like, no, I don't like that.
Yeah, no, that's where you want to be for sure. Yeah. When you can comfortably say, no, I don't mess with that. Yeah. Then you're in a good spot.
Which national finals have we watched? I can speak for myself and say, I think I saw it all 2016 and 2017. Missed a couple of years. I just caught the highlights, and then I think the last couple of years I sort of have been following, you know, because Eurovision became a little bit more real to me.
Right.
I think obviously with you, Billy, we know that your love of Eurovision is a new
blossoming
thing. It's blossoming. It has just begun. Your new journey with Eurovision.
Big time. Yeah, so we watched last year's 2020. We didn't watch the whole program, but we watched the performances, like a handful of them.
Yeah.
Like I'm still obsessed with I can't remember her name unfortunately, but the French artist, she did Voila.
Voila, such a good song.
I think that was the moment where I was like, I really get Eurovision, and I'm behind it. So we watched 2020, and then on my own, I watched, I want to say it was 1986 or
Wow.
89. For some reason, 6 and 9 are flipped. But that was the year, it might have been 84, uh, somewhere in the 80s, but when Celine Dion won.
Sure.
And I was just, that was kind of fun to see her in her infancy, but with the same massive voice.
Mm.
But yeah, I think those would be. Any more I should watch? Who asked that question? Would you recommend any other years?
Yes, yes. Please give us some recommendation. What did I enjoy the most from the whole Australia Decides experience? Um, I reckon the thing I loved the most was getting to just be around all the other artists so much. Like, um, yeah, I don't know what my expectations were, but everyone was just so sweet and like nurturing and very very kind, and you know it was just really good to like be in an environment. It gave me the vibe of like my high school production of Les Miserables that I was in.
One
um
day more.
yes, I was a little tiny scrawny Jean Valjean.
Who did you were Jean Valjean? Makes sense, of course.
Well, yeah, it makes sense, but then like you look back at the photos and it's like the youngest,
Man
scrawniest.
child.
Well, yeah, literally like a fake beard on.
That's awesome.
But it gives me that vibe because it was like, you know how like when you're in a production, I don't know if you've really been in many like musical theater
Never.
things, but
No.
oh, it's just like you become very close with all the people you're around, including
Sure.
like hair and makeup, and um, you know, you're all just around each other constantly, getting, you know, eating food in the green room and like just kind of bonding.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like that was my favorite thing, having a bit of company through the whole process. Yeah, and also I think my favorite moment, and Billy, I think you'll appreciate this. Like it was, I think we probably both have a similar aspect of like, it's not necessarily the cameras on stage that are the most exciting thing. It's the actual audience.
Yeah.
Um, so like my favorite moment from like the whole thing was getting out there just before the TV cameras went on and I was live. Because I got to walk out and have like maybe 30 seconds just sitting at the piano in front of the
Oh
audience.
wow, that's an
Um,
intense 30 seconds.
it's intense, but like everyone was like screaming and like they were like so
Oh,
happy to
no
see
kidding.
me. Yeah, and like I was like I got to like wave to everyone and they just were so like hyped, and that was like so cool.
Oh, that's amazing. It has such a sporting event feel to it. I think that was the most surprising aspect. Like everyone has the flags and they're all dressed up like really
Yeah, I know.
uh, eventful and screaming and hollering. There's a funny moment actually I want to ask you about at the last line of the performance. You can hear someone scream out, and there's some kind of gossip here on the internet. Some people are like mad at this person, calling them a
I know.
toddler. But to me, I heard them say dream, like they were singing along to it. Did you hear
Yeah.
their comment, or what was that all about?
I Well, yeah, it was a really interesting moment because it was funny to see people on the internet like jump to my defense. I even got some messages saying like, "Don't listen to that
Yeah.
person. Like, you're amazing. Like that, they were just idiotic." And I'm
Oh
kind of
man.
indifferent about the whole thing. Like,
I thought it
I
was cool if they were singing along.
yeah, it was like I thought it was kind of cool too. I think the only thing is that like I my voice wavered on the very last note,
Mm.
which I think it might have just been that very subtle shift where you get taken out of the moment ever so slightly. Um, so I have no negative feelings towards anybody singing along at all.
Sure.
But unfortunately, the inner critic in me does have negative feelings about my voice cracking on the last note. Just because
That's
I'm a
natural.
perfectionist, I'm like, no, it was
Sure.
so good. But that's okay, whatever.
I couldn't even notice. So that's That was just a funny moment. I was so curious about it. Finn is saying she's surprised. I've heard this too. A lot of people are surprised by the flags. Um, I
Yeah,
think, the flags don't surprise me as much as more the atmosphere. Like, a music event like that typically is, the audience is pretty reserved and like
yeah, yeah.
sitting and kind of dressed up, and it just kind of felt like a soccer game or a basketball game here in the States in a
And
cool way.
I think because as well, like if you haven't been involved with shows like, Idol, The Voice, X Factor, all that,
Yeah,
like for most people in the industry, singing is never, or songwriting is never competitive, like
right.
directly, It's like never a ranking thing in a
Totally.
competition.
Someone gets the
Um,
trophy, right?
yeah, no trophies, no, like, I mean, obviously it is competitive in the sense that like, there's only so many people in the top 100, but like it's never this like actual explicit competition. So
Hmm.
probably we both have this kind of like, oh, it's so weird that there's like flags and people have like teams and it's like, so it feels like sport because most of the music
Totally.
industry isn't like that.
100%. You go to a show, you got the opener and the closing act, and
Yeah,
you have a good
there's no
time. And
nobody ranks the opener and the closing act and like there's no winner.
oh man, yeah, the big envelope reveal at the end.
Okay, so Shelton Riley fan page is saying they were drunk, but it was definitely not a rude remark. They sat in front of them a couple rows. Yeah, that was something my friend said. So my friend went there, like was in the audience, and they said that they were surprised at how much of a drinking event it was.
Yeah,
Which I didn't even know. I didn't know. I was removed from that, but that makes sense. I would probably be that person in the audience, just like, feeling so lost in the moment.
for sure. It was a loose crowd. It was cool. It was
It was loose.
it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It's cool that this person, the Sheldon Riley fan page, was right there in the action.
I know,
We know how
yeah.
they voted.
Yes.
Well deserved. That was
Such a good
that
one.
very cool song and performance.
Yeah.
Adi asks, "How do you feel about being the Disney Prince of Australia to Science?" I like that question.
I feel very positively about it.
It's brilliant.
um, I think it's funny that sort of happened. It sort of just um, fell into
Yeah,
being like
how did it come about?
so. I think it started with, at least explicitly, where I did an interview with, I think, Joy Radio here it was a Melbourne thing in
Right.
Australia. And they were like, I think they said something about the song being very Disney-ish, or like, I'm like a Disney prince or something like that. And I was like, oh, I'm going to
Interesting.
take that. And then it kind of just started matching up with all the other things happening. Like in, in I made a TikTok about outfits, which shirt should I choose
Right.
to perform in. And the one that I did end up wearing, a few people commented and was like, oh my God, like that one makes you look like a Disney prince.
Right.
And so I was like, oh wow, this is like a few different sources here. Anyway, from there I just took it and ran with it because I was like, actually, that's kind of cool. And the song, as we both know, has that Disney-esque quality to it and very like
Totally.
old fairy tale. So yeah, the only thing I'm questioning is that like I want people to know that it's Disney the vibe, not Disney the business. It's not, because sometimes I hear it and I just go like, I wonder if it's weird that like I'm making this random company part of my brand, but oh well.
It really splits people down the middle for sure. It's
Yes.
some people hate it for that reason, and then others love it. You kind of just, but an important distinction. It's the heart. It's not
Exactly.
the corporate dominance.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the capitalist prince of Australia decides.
That's a whole different song.
Yeah, that it really is a different song. Fana says,
Don't get
I
sued.
was wondering why people are always screaming at the show. it's always ostracized. I know. Well, that's Australia. Like, I feel like Australian
Interesting.
audiences can be very rowdy
Yeah.
in general.
The Australians I've met over the year are always a partying bunch. We've always gotten down.
When I'm in LA.
There you go. That's a whole nother beast.
Yeah, I know. Ah, that'll be
It's
fun.
big time. It's cool. We have another American, Sheldon Riley fan page, traveled from the U.S. to see the show.
Yeah, that's
That's
actually
so cool.
amazing.
Yeah. How did you get turned on to? I guess you were a Sheldon Riley fan first before Eurovision, if I had to guess, or what's the story?
Yeah, let us know, Sheldon Riley fan page.
I'm
We're keen.
curious.
Um, how long did it take to write the song?
Summy Bummy. That's a great name.
That is a great name. So initially 1 hour.
Yeah, it was
For
crazy.
the for the first, I guess for the heart of the song and the meat of it, like
Hmm.
and then I think the next session was it one session to finish it off, or was it 2 sessions?
It was two.
It was 2. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
I think I've
we.
been telling people that it was 1 for some reason.
I feel like
No, but I think you're right.
because I think we wrote it and we weren't. It was moving slowly, and we said, if it is it, we'll let it be. But if not, we set up another write. We were doing kind of a weekly thing at the time. And I think we decided, no, let's revisit it a little bit. We put in like 2 or 3 more hours into it and then landed on. I remember when you came up with "When the Stars Align, I'll Sing from the Other Side." Because we were stuck on that one line for like a minute. Like the rest of it kind of came together. And when you came up with that, I remember thinking, he got it. This is it. Like, and then we kind of put the bow on it.
Yeah, I remember that too. I feel like we were just really struggling to put our finger on what we wanted those lines to be.
Yeah.
And we went through so many options as well of like what it should be, and and I think the interesting thing about this song is that it doesn't really follow the normal pop song formula. So
Right.
that was always, I think that's always tricky with writing music, because we're sort of on our own. We have no kind of structure to guide us of like, okay, well now we just need the last 2 lines of the bridge and we're back into the chorus and we're done,
Right.
Because we were kind of like, well, where does it go? I mean, I guess we just keep on going with this "when the stars align" bit over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess I can't even remember. I think then we realized then we had those last 2 lines which we could put on the end for "where the past and future meet."
Right.
And it all kind of that was like my favorite bit of the song.
The very ending.
Yeah. I just liked how it goes back to that that part,
Absolutely. Yeah, for those of you in here that don't know too, Jude produced the whole thing himself at his home studio. And I think that moment is definitely what ties the sections together seamlessly. They're definitely were written at different times and have different influences, but that moment glues everything in a really cool way. So kudos to you. That was my favorite part too, Summy Bummy says. So that's cool when that happens. Finna says she loves the unique structure. Heck yeah. Mine too. We got a lot of love for the end section. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm so glad that people like that bit. Well,
it's brilliant.
I remember when we wrote the lyrics there, like that was a really like good moment of like, ooh.
Yes. That was the end of the session for sure. We're like, okay, we've got a conclusion to this feeling.
Yeah,
special.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's when I started tearing up.
Yeah,
because it made me cry. Which from in our business, it's like, all right, that's something we need to share.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't it? And it's just crazy. Now I'm kind of thinking naturally like, wow, what's next for me? and how do I follow that up? And you know, should I try and write something that's similar? Should we release one of the other songs straight away, which we've already I think what I'm kind of just realizing now is that like I Won't Need to Dream stemmed from a point where Billy and I were not trying to do anything. We were just trying to be as creative as we possibly can and follow through on this idea, which at the time felt kind of crazy because it wasn't exactly in my goals to release this very unconventional pop, non-pop song. And so, yeah, now it's really cool to think about like what's next. And I'm landing on something which is probably going to be equally unique, even if it's not in the same direction. So I hope that you guys are okay to come along for the journey.
I hit the wrong button.
Oh,
Just completely exited myself. Did a little
That's okay.
Irish goodbye.
That was so funny. I was just like, you left me right in the middle of a thought. And I was like, what is life? What am I saying right now? It just felt
let the ship sink on you. I'm sorry.
You did. That's okay. All right, we might just answer this last question, and then I might go watch Drag Race and go to bed.
Drag Race?
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, nice. I know RuPaul.
Yeah. I'll have to educate you. How did you come up with these insane chords for I Won't Need to Dream? How did we? Oh,
that was you.
Well, that was kind of me. With your guidance. So the long story is, up until very recently, I had a regular like gig playing jazz piano and jazz classics at a little bar in Brisbane. And so to get ready for that job, I kind of needed to learn a lot of like old songs like Frank Sinatra and Nat King Cole, Ella Fitzgerald, all that sort of stuff. So even though I'm not an amazing pianist, I'm kind of familiar with the structure of jazz chords, and that's kind of what I channeled for the chords of this song. And that's kind of, yeah, I love the way that they sound in the sense that there's not just 4 repeating chords. There's like each section is its own phrase, you know. It has to do a whole bunch of chords before we get back to home, which
right,
yeah, feels really satisfying, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, that jazz influence was key in writing that sort of crooning ballad lullaby style. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, I mean, I don't know, Billy, whether you have done much in the jazz world or theater world or anything, but it really felt like you had a natural sort of affinity for the melodies and the lyrics and even just like the vocals for that style as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever written in that style before. Maybe a little bit. Definitely a huge fan, and affinity is a perfect word for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to try something again like that.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just gotta respond to these comments. We got to hear the rest of 1200 Nights.
I don't know that one.
Oh my god, I'll send it to you.
Please do.
Yeah, I will. That's like a ballad, kind of a ballad-ish, and
okay.
It's finished now, so I'll send it to you, Billy, and I might post another snippet on YouTube because the video that I posted, I actually recorded the full song, so I can just maybe I'll put up another teaser.
Brilliant.
Which season of RuPaul's Drag Race am I watching? Season 14. I think that's the latest one.
That's a good run for RuPaul.
I know. What about you, Billy? What season are you watching?
I'm watching. I don't know, but I love. Have you seen that clip of RuPaul on Jimmy Fallon?
A drag queen?
Yeah. I am the queen of drag. So brilliant. I mean, I guess I'll have to start from the top.
No.
No, don't start with
Don't
season one.
Don't start from season one. I
Okay.
still haven't watched season one.
Oh man.
Start from 5. 5's a really fun place to start.
Okay, 5. That's a good. I'll make a note of that.
It's the best thing to just like when you have a long day and you just want to completely detach and just have some chips, some hot chips, and maybe a hot chocolate, and that's the best.
For sure. Heck yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's been nice chatting with you and meeting everyone here in the chat and talking with you all. It's been a awesome start to my day. I feel very connected to the world, getting to speak to everyone all over, and see you as always. As brief as it's been more recently since you're, been so busy with the production.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll be back in the studio soon.
For sure.
And yeah, thank you for joining me. Thanks for the song and the writing.
My pleasure.
Thank you for the music.
It's been a dream.
Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your morning and afternoon, and have a coffee.
There you go. Yeah, enjoy the drag show, and enjoy the Queen of Drag, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you so much. Okay. See you later, everybody. Thanks for joining. And it's been fun.
Peace.
Bye.
See you, Jude.
Bye, Billy.